Woo, my hair standing up. It's dead serious hot in Vegas. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say call on Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the God of Gods. There is no other gods besides him. The ones that he made, which is Yahweh Shai, and the angels, and the Israelites. And the Israelites, Yahweh Shai is his son, and you got the angels in heaven, and you have the the angels in heaven, that's called the powers. Then you got the Israelites on the earth, which are called the lower gods. Other than that, all the other gods around the world and everything that he created, all those other gods are non-existent. They don't matter. And those are the only gods that he made. Much love to his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai, which is the Son of God, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ and other names that don't have no power. Ooh, I'm so lucky I found some shade. Oh my goodness, it's hot today. I'm enjoying it though. Sorry, I had to say that. They call him other names that don't have no power, like Jesus and, Yahuwah, other names that don't have the power. His name biblically is Yahweh Shai, translated from the ancient Paleo-Hebrew. That is the correct name, and that's how you access Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. In the name Yahweh Shai, nobody can go through me. Nobody can go through the Father unless you go through me. Much love to the chosen children of Israel, whoever they may be among the children of Israel. Much love to them. And much love to the Akim, the brothers of the new covenant, the brothers that's in the truth as well. And they do everything in their power to show you how about Shem Yahushai, that they love him and they fear him. They give us lines upon lines, precepts. They break down secrets of the Bible, through old dictionaries, breaking down proper words like the Blue Letter Bible, and so on and so forth. And they do everything in their power to get you the word before these dark times come ahead of us. And, these elites got to do what they got to do. So much love to those prophets out there. Much love to the Akwaf, the beautiful women that's in the word. And whether you got a man or not, you still fear the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You listen and learn in silence. Today, we have, today for my episode, today's title is They Still Don't Listen. And this is for the Israelites that are the 2/3 that refuse to heed the Lord's warnings. And they refuse to come into the new covenant. And they would rather stay in the world and worship what they worship and go their own way. We can go to that precept right now, because you still got the Israelites that's roaming around acting like the world would still remain the same. And the world is changing in the most drastic of ways right now. The world is changing like heavenly, but from the way the infrastructures are in every society, it is designed to make it look like that on the outside everything is fine. Like, you can go outside, you can go to your friendly neighborhood restaurant or store, and then you can buy stuff, get what you want, and you can go watch movies, you can go out with your friends, you can go out to party, you can go on dates, you could go to school. That's a funny one. Hey, how you doing? You believe in the Bible, big dog? I said, you believe in the Bible? You believe in God? You believe in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai? All right, then have a good day. Yo, God bless you too, man. Woo, stay up. It's hot as hell. I didn't think it'd be this hot. Shoot, I got lucky. I'm lucky it's right here. Shit. I'm like, damn, like. But where was I instead of bothering the nice men? Oh, they don't listen. Yes. It also says in the Bible, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. So it's like they don't want to take the wisdom and knowledge and understanding that the Lord gives them. So a lot of them don't want to change. A lot of them don't want to do better. And that's one thing, that the Lord will bring us is with the wisdom, knowledge, understanding comes change. Change in your identity, change in the way you think, change in how you do things. You be more considerate, you be more aware, you be more deeper into prayer. Oh yeah, I just remembered. Oh yeah, everything is as for the world, is designed to make it look like that on the outside everything is fine. People go to work, uh, people making money, people building businesses and buying homes, and it looks normal, but on the inside, and in the hidden world, is actually in turmoil and a lot of chaos, which is leading to an extreme change in economy and society, and in the world itself. But they try to do a very good job of making it seem like everything is fine. That's right for right now for the powers that be. That's how much control they got. They can give you the illusion that everything is fine and still do what they got to do behind the scenes. And then when the curtains pull up and it's showtime, then you start to see what these people's true intentions are. You start to see what they about, and you start to see the ugly that you haven't seen, because they allowed it to happen. As far as I'm concerned, with this, it's best to pay more attention. Now, you don't have to be in like fear daily. You don't have to be in fear like daily. You don't have to be just constantly worried, constantly concerned. No, it's for you to know and you to understand. So I'm gonna get that precept real quick. Woo, it's hot. But I'm enjoying it. I'd rather deal with this than the goddamn storms and shit getting my ass sick. It's like stupid hot, yo. Right, and this is Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. It says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject you. It says that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children. So it can also come to affecting your generations. So you know how Christianity works. Christianity has been pushed. The religion itself, not the Bible. The religion itself was pushed so heavily on our people to the point to where our people pushed it on today's generation, they kids, and they kids' kids, and they kids' kids. So this was like a tradition for them, to learn about God, learn about Jesus, learn about Christmas, learn about Easter, certain things like that, and then go to church on Sunday, and Sunday is not the day of the Lord. Sunday is sun worship. So you worship the sun. So it's like an Egyptian, I do believe sun worship, it go way back to Egyptian traditions where they would worship the sun god Ra or whatever. But it has a lot to do with that. And pretty much in a weird kind of way, the Bible been separated like 2 or 3 times. I mean, it's more than once, but like 2 or 3 times. So you got the truth, which is, Yahweh Shai. Everybody knows that. There you have Jesus. And then you got the sun worship. Jesus is white supremacy. And then you have the sun worship, which is Egyptian mythology and Egyptian traditions, ancient old traditions where they believe that, the sun is God and that the moon is the devil, and that the war rages between the sun and the moon. When the sun comes down, the devil comes out, and the devil brings darkness. He brings the things that are unseen, and just a bunch of mumbo jumbo that's not true. Because if that was true, we would have the rapture every day. Right, there would be a rapture. There would be a rapture every day. There would be an apocalypse every day. and this would be utter straight chaos. So we'll have peace in the day, but then we got to watch out for the darkness and the danger that come at night. And it don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. But some say that's where the root of Christianity comes from. The idea of it comes from sun worship, which is true, but not the Israelite, not the Hebrew side of the Bible, which is the truth, and the real tradition and ancient practices that predate before all of that. So people get a lot of these things confused, and it begins, instead of people digging and understanding both sides, they would abandon the whole thing, period. Because it's so much information. Sometimes it can overwhelm a person, but that shouldn't stop you from wanting to know, and wanting to understand. So that's where the Lord is like, that's weak behavior, and you're not even trying to give him a chance, and then that's where you get where people say the Bible is contradiction. The Bible is full of fairy tales, tall tales, and none of it's real. God ain't real. You get those kind of replies from our own people because they have not studied well enough and they don't understand. And then you got people like some of our people that be like, well, if I see it, I'll believe it, and that's kind of messed up for you to say, but but at the same time, it's kind of daring for you to say, because at some point the Lord is gonna have to show his power. So it's gonna be like, you're not ready for nothing like that. But having that understanding and knowing something like that is not cool. Like, our people, they don't want to know, and that's okay, because it's not meant for a lot of people. But that's not making the Lord happy. Lord happy with those of us that understand and we are willing to come in, but the Lord not happy with those of them that don't understand, and those of them that don't want to come in when his supper is filled, when his supper, and his dinner table is unlimited seats, and then you only got like 5 to 10% of the Israelites coming to eat out of millions and millions without number. That don't make the Lord happy. The Lord not happy about that. He not happy about that. But that's what it is. We take that religion, that Christianity religion, and we pass it down to our children and our children's children, and it becomes it's a generational curse. It was designed to make us forget about who our power really was, and we replaced our power with the supremacy, with the white supremacy. So instead of us worshiping Yahweh, we worship, white man and his belief systems. So that right there has been like that for a long time. But gratefully, thankfully, the Lord bring out the truth, and the walls are coming down to where, a lot of us get that understanding. A good amount of us know, and a good amount of us are aware. But then you got, like I said, you got those of them that still question the Lord. You got those of them that don't want to believe in the Lord because they like, well, if this is a lie, then Yahweh Shem Yahushai could be a lie, the Lord could be a lie, when the Lord is trying to tell you the truth. The truth sets your mind free, and you're able to go and figure it out and find the right path. Some of them even jump to the wrong religions. I know black people that worship Buddhism. I know black people that worship the Baphomet, Freemasonry. I know white people. I know black people that worship yoga. It's all kinds of other things that the truth can lead you to if you're not strong enough to go and find it. You'll land in some other whole kind of truth and some whole other kind of enlightenment. Yeah, it might feel good, but it's not the real thing. That's not where you're supposed to be. And this right here. You always got to go to this verse right here. It'll make perfect sense. This is Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9 through 29. And it says, and when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from out of the mountain, the people gathered together themselves unto Aaron, it says, and said unto him, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we not know what has become of him. So this was very blasphemous, because Moses was on the Mount Sinai, and he was talking to the Lord, and he was getting the commandments to the Lord to purify the Israelites so they can come back into their godhood. But the Israelites at that time were so earthbound that and so wicked that they were corrupted to the temptations of the earth. So they started worshiping other gods, and they started worshiping other spirits, and they considered the Lord another spirit, another demon, per se. But they easily went back into the world, and it could become an addiction, necessarily. Like when you find the truth, and you got some people that fall out the truth. This is like one of those instances where they just easily fell out. They easily gave up, and the Lord is right in front of them. That would have been some life-changing event for me. If I would saw something like that day, if I would have seen something like that, I would have pissed on myself. I ain't gonna lie. I'm about to work. I know who God is. Ain't no way he come down like that. Come down like that. And he's talking to Moses, and and Moses, he giving to Moses the blueprints to make us back into gods. Like, ain't no way. Now that's the funny part about it. They understood the mission. A lot of the Israelites understood what it was, but they just didn't care. They just didn't care, and they gave up easily, man. And the Lord is right there. He's right there. So it says, Aaron said unto them, break off golden earrings, which are in the ears of your wives, your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them to me. And all the people broke off the earrings which were in their ears, and brought them to Aaron, and received them at their hand, and fashioned it with graven tool, after he had made a molten calf. And they said, these be thy gods. So this golden calf right here, this golden calf is a representation of money. It pretty much is. It's a representation of money. And in some nations they do worship cows and calves. They worship animals as gods. So in that story, they not only worship an animal, and it's just an animal. It can't come save you. It can't come deliver you. Do none of that. No, they worshiping money too, because it's made out of pure gold. So that's what they worship. So you got to understand the spirituality in it. Like they want it to be more material. When the Lord is trying to give you everything, you want the validation right then and there. So you miss being, at this time the Israelites were homeless. After they left Egypt, they was broke. They didn't have everything that they used to have. They didn't have no homes. They slept outside. And the Lord, he had made their habitations always peaceful. He had made their habitations always out of danger, out of sight. No bandits came and jumped them and stole everything and killed them. No animals, came against them and ate them and slaughtered them. And they didn't have to go the war with nobody at the moment, and they was taken care of, and the Lord even made rain food out of the sky. And this wasn't no ordinary food. This is the food that, the food that angels eat. The angels eat this kind of food, but it made the Lord angry at the same time, because they wanted an immediate miracle. They wanted something right then and there. So, during these times that we're about to come into, when, everything starts to fall apart, in the next couple of years, they are going to do the same thing. They're going to be like, damn, well, what about my job? What about my kids? What about my money, my cars, my house? So everything is just going to burst into flames, and you expect me to go with God and just expect me to rely on faith. You just expect me to do that when he don't even want to show his face. And you got these guys always talking trash, and they don't want to go on faith, and you'll be taken care of, but they don't want to go broke neither, because the way society got us all wired. So without society, how would you live? Without this society, how would you live? So that's a good question, and this is exactly what they would do. So it says in all, it says, what did it say? Where am I? And he said, these be thy gods, a cow that's made of gold. Stupidest shit ever. Stupid. You wouldn't believe the stupid things that people worship in the world. Yeah, an elephant with 1,000,000 arms, some gold fat dude with keloids in his ears talking about peace to the world. You know, you got Jesus, which is the racist white dude that say he love everybody, but he don't. He only love his people. You got what's another god? You got a god that supposedly dance in the sun, that create destruction, and he got like 3 horns. Like, what's with all of this? When you look at the gods that people worship today, they ain't nothing but animals and human deformity. It's just ridiculous, man. You know, like the Bathmit goat. Like, what the hell? The goat man got, this goat man got he got the breast of a woman. Then he got the body of a man. The top of his head is a goat. Like this is ridiculous. This is just an animal / person. Like, and it's made up. You know, but the powers that are behind it give it life. But other than that, the image itself has no life. So, you know, it's just stupid. Like, and you gotta understand, like, the population is very dumb, bro. Like, a lot of people are really stupid, man. Really stupid. Some people so stupid they don't even realize how stupid they are, man. And it's just ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous. But like the Lord say, what little a man got, he gonna take that away too. So when you think you couldn't get any dumber, you're gonna get dumber, you know, because you choose not to come his way. He gonna take everything else that you got left. So, you know, people don't understand that, and that's why most of our population is, they're getting dumber. I'm sorry, they're getting dumber. So it says, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it and made a proclamation and said, tomorrow is a feast of the Lord. So he made a proclamation and said that was God. He said that the cow was God, you know, but he said it, tomorrow is the feast to the Lord. You know, so when you got different people that would say, oh, God is good, you know, the Lord is great. And it's like, which God are you referring to? Every God has a name. Anything like that you invoke out of your mouth, it has to go somewhere. You know, your energy or your commandment got to go somewhere. You know, it has to go to something. So you can't just say God, because if you say God, then it could go anywhere. It can go, anything can respond to you. So, you know, this is what he referred to. Like, okay, which God do you worship? Or you worship, when they say the Lord, you know, you don't know if you're talking about the devil or God. You don't know. You don't know. So that's why he said it like that. It says, and they rose up early on tomorrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings, and the people sat down to eat and drink. So the Lord is chilling with Moses, giving him the blueprint on how to return to being gods. And this is what the Lord had to say. It says, and the Lord said unto Moses, get thee down, for thy people have brought us out of the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves. Right, just when the Lord had put them through the 40-day wilderness and the 40-day wilderness was a part of a detox too. You know, they had to detox out of all the drugs. They had to detox out of the incantations. They had to detox out of the money, you know. And it is more than just, it's different kinds of things that can become drugs. Money can become a drug. Your possessions can become a drug. You ain't just got to be off weed or some other methamphetamine for it to become a drug. Like, you could be layered upon drugs, and drugs is low-level sorcery. That's exactly what it is. Drugs are low-level sorcery, bro. Low-level witchcraft, bro. And you could be saran wrapped with all of this. So it says, and Moses and the Lord said, get thee down and go for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt. It says, have corrupted themselves. They have turned quickly out of the way which I commanded them. So it really made Yahweh mad when he seen them after they became purified. After they became purified, they corrupted themselves by worshiping another idol, a fake god. You know, they worship an inanimate object, and that is easy corruption, man. After he done put them through the 40-day wilderness to purify themselves. Detox. Detox. Before I make y'all gods again, y'all got to detox, man. Y'all so drugged up off this world, you done forgot who you was. So before I make you back into gods and allow you to take over the world, you got to detox. That's what he did. Like, you got to detox. That way I know you worshiping me, and I can give you everything that you need, and that's it. But that's what they did, So it says they have turned quickly out of the way, which I commanded them. They have made a molten calf and have worshipped it and have sacrificed thereunto. So they put their power into and they faith into this calf, this idol. So they with the energy that they had, they kind of tried to make it real, And like I said, any spirit can respond to that. Anything can respond to what they're trying to do. So that is witchcraft within itself. So the Lord's like, man, hell no, man, that don't look good. You need to go down there and tell them what's going on. So it says they have made them a molten calf and have worshipped it and have sacrificed thereunto. These be thy gods, which have brought thee up out of Israel. And the Lord said unto Moses, I have seen this people. Behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore leave me alone, that I may my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make thee of a great nation. So he was going to get rid of most of these Israelites, and he was going to use Moses' seed to replace them with a great nation. Because one man can have many wives, and with them wives, he can make a nation out of them wives. That's the purpose of the Israelite man, to repopulate. Husband mean planner, and then wife means servant. So the wife's job is to help create, help create. So with that being said, that would have been, he would have killed them all and made a new Israel, So, but he didn't, because Moses had protected them, So it says, it said, through you, I will make a great nation. So, it's not necessarily that he was going to get them all, because you had a select few that did believe, and it was looking at everybody else. See, that's where it was at too, that it caused the separation. So you had those of them that believed in the Lord, and then you had those of them that didn't believe, and it caused a major separation. But it was more that didn't believe than it was the ones that believed. So the Lord even saw that. But it was the most of the portion of Israel that had to go. They had to go. So it says, and Moses besought the Lord his God, saying, Yahweh, why dost thou wax hot against thy people, which thou hast brought forth out of the land of Egypt with a great power? And says, and with a mighty hand, wherefore should the Egyptians speak and say, for mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains, and consume them off the face of the earth? It says, turn from thy fierce wrath and repent of this evil against thy people. So what he was going to do was destroy most of Israel and then reincarnate them through Moses. And they would have came back corrected. So now what was supposed to happen back then is going to happen again. This time he gonna really put the belt to their behind and get rid of these people, because they don't believe, and they wicked, and they stiff-necked, and they got a black heart. They evil, and they don't care. So the Lord said, I'm going to make you into what I want you to be. You're going to be gods. You're going to come back to me, and you're going to worship me forever, even if I got to kill you and I got to remake you. That's a God right there. That's God right there. Because he do whatever he want, And it's a good thing that he won't good intentions for him, but it does suck for them to have to die on this side to go back to being gods on the next. But that's exactly what's necessary. It's just necessary. So it says, turn from thy fierce wrath and repent of this evil against thy people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, which is Jacob. It says, thy servants, to whom thou swearest by thine own self. He swore, and he made a promise that he would save Israel, and made it and said it unto them, I will multiply your seeds as the stars of heaven and all this land. It says, and all this land that I have spoken I will give unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. And the Lord repented of the evil which he had thought to do unto his people. Because the Lord is a Lord of war too. So by you, wait, let me, because this shit gonna melt my phone away and my tablet. It's so hot. Whoa, my arm hurt. Yeah, so that's what the Lord was gonna do to him, man. He was gonna destroy him, man, because they was so evil. They was so wicked. They didn't even give the Lord a chance. And he came down. He came down with his holy feet and touched Mount Sinai. That's why the Lord told Moses when he first got there to take his shoes off before you touch that sand or before you touch that soil, because the ground was holy, because he had stepped on the mountain and purified it. So, you know, for you to see something like that, you know, and for you to still not believe, you know, is a ridiculous thing. It's just insanity, you know. But like I said, what it say? What it say in the Bible? It say, he who loved the world loses himself. That's true. That is true. So you got a lot of people that's so addicted to this world that they lose themselves. You know, that's a really sad sight. But you can become corrupted. You can even become self-corrupted. You can become corrupted by money. You could become corrupted by friends. You know, what it say? The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Yeah, that right there. And we all are a part of it, but it's a difference when you change it. It's a difference when you come back from that. And you ain't even got to be all perfect, you know, because you're going to make mistakes, you're going to mess up, but it's the simple fact that you ain't gave up and you took the journey there. So that's what's important, you know. The Lord respect that when you keep going, you know. That's what really matters, is your intention and your endurance to do better. Not to just mess up and then just to give up and then be like, well, you know, this is it. I'm just going to keep doing bad. You know, I can't help it. I can't change myself. I blame my past. I blame the people that made me. You know, stuff like that, you know. And that's just what it is. That's just what it is, player. So it's just like at the end of the day, when it comes to it, you know, our people still don't listen. Our people don't want to heed the warnings of Yahweh Shem Yahushai before he let his wrath go. And then when when these elites give the go to make that extreme change, you know, and change these economies forever, it's gonna be so extreme that they not gonna know what to do with this type of change. They ain't gonna know what to do with it, man. Ooh, there we go. I need some shade. Shit. There we go. Ooh, it's hot as hell out here. I like it like this though. Like I said, it'd be better for it to be hot than for me to be dealing with storms and, you know, getting sick. But you know, that's just what it is, man. That is the truth. You know, people, they want to do whatever they want to do, and they don't want to turn to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. They don't even want to clean themselves up. You know, it's like sometimes, you know, wickedness can be compared to like wickedness and the path of the Lord can be compared to like a fat person. The Lord is sin, and like I said in the Bible, a chance cometh upon all men. You know, everybody gets a chance to do better, you know, but or it gets a chance or an opportunity to do something, you know. So, you know, it's like the Lord sending this fat man a person that's already in shape and already ripped, and tell them that I can get you there if you were willing to walk the path. You know, I can get you right back to where you were if you're willing to walk the path. Now, he's down for it, but when he asks how long it'll take, when he asks how much that he got to go through, and the guy be like, well, you'll get there in like 2-3 years, you know, or you'll get there in 2 years, you know, technically 3 years, you know, sometimes, depending on how big they are, you know, they look at the far road down the way, and then they don't want to do it, and sometimes they accept their fate, and they become fatter, and they become fatter until they pass away. It's just like that, man. It's just like that, you know. But the difference is that with this, you could be pulled out of it at any moment. But some people feel like they're too far gone, that the Lord can't save them. Now, if you say something like that, that's a sin, because the Lord can do anything. Anything is possible with the Lord, you know, with Yahweh, and he can do anything. For you to tell him that he can't do it, he can't do everything, is a sin. That's disrespectful. And you saying, like the Lord said, is there anything that's too impossible? Ain't nothing impossible for the Lord. Ain't nothing too difficult for him. You know, so it's like, if he can change you, you know, he can change anybody that he want to change. And it come to a point to where you got to ask for it too. You know, you got to ask for it, and sometimes it do come at a price too. It ain't free. You know, you got to do certain things in order to earn, you know, your way. You got to do certain things in order to progress forward. You got to do things that he wants you to do to purify yourself and to better yourself, man. You know, and it's a very difficult road. It's very treacherous. It's much peril. It's much fear, you know, but you got to have that determination. You got to have that courage to move forward. You can't just give up and be like, man, this is it, man. There's a wall in front of me, man. I can't get through. What do I do? You know, the Lord is like, you got to break through the wall. You got to climb over it. Either you break through the wall or you climb over it. Which one you want to do? Or you can walk around it, you know? Which one you want to do? You know, but, you know, they feel like that's it, you know? This is it. And that's where the Lord is displeased at, you know? Because everything come with a challenge. Everything come with a test. All these things come that way. You know, it's just the way the Lord designed the game. Without these components, the game would be boring. The game would be boring without an enemy. The game would be boring without an adventure. And it would be boring if you didn't get no power-ups. You know, you didn't get no perks. You didn't get no new weapons. You know, it just wouldn't be a game without it. So it's just like, you know, a lot of these Israelites don't want the journey. You know, they don't want to just go on blind faith. They don't want to just pray and pray to Yahweh Shem Yahushai and wait for a blessing. They want it all right then and there. You know, so they feel like the world will provide it a lot quicker than he would. You know, when he is the root of everything, you know, and once you realize and you discover something like that and you realize that he the root of everything, you begin to understand like anything. I can do anything as long as I got the Lord with me. I can't do nothing with the world. You see where the world got my people. You see what messing around with the world too much got them. You know, they got them broke. They out of rulership. We living in these trash houses. You know, we living in these dirty apartments. You know, a lot of us are homeless. A lot of us are crazy out of our minds. A lot of us killing each other. You know, a lot of us is struggling. We in the money cycle. You know, a lot of us is just lost. Look what we did to ourselves that got us where we were, you know. It got us where we were. You know, like I said, for the angels which have not kept their estate, but reserved themselves into everlasting chains of darkness to await the great and terrible day. So now that reference is for the chosen. But it can be for, to me, it can be for the Israelites too, because we came down from our estate. You know, we came down from our estate, ended up in chains. You know, we ended up in slavery. We came down from our estate. We let our enemy take over. And we fell because of our own wickedness, because of the things that we did to ourselves, you know, and we suffered for it, you know, and we did this to ourselves because we came down from our godhood and exposed ourselves to the dangers of this world. At first, we were invulnerable, and when we decided to be with these people, decided to let these people in, and made us invulnerable. So the Lord slowly but surely stripped away our spiritual power. He stripped away our earthly power. He stripped away, you know, our limited money. He stripped away our palaces. He stripped away a lot of things and reduced us to what we are today. But he didn't get rid of the spirit. That's one thing he didn't get rid of, which is worth more than everything that he gave you. And all of that is materialism at the end of the day. So when you understand that, it's like you got something that these nations are fighting over right now. To this day, they are fighting over power. They are fighting over who's going to rule. You know, whether it be the false Israel, you know, or whether it be the globalists, or whether it be separate nations that want the world, whether it be this nation or that nation, they all fighting over world dominance. And you already have that. That's a small scratch off on the long list of what the Israelites have. Because they got the spirit of Yahweh. They got the spirit of the Lord with them, which is way worth more. And it's way worth more than world dominance. You know, you have what these people are fighting over. They want godhood. That's what they want to be. They want to be gods, something that they could never be. Because the status of the world and life itself, the ecosystem, the food chain is already set and it cannot be removed. You know, you got the lowest thing besides the animals is the insects. Then you got the animals. Then you got the nations. Then you got Israel, you know. You have the Israelites, you got the gods, you know, and this status will never change. Like the Lord said, can a zebra change its stripes? You know? Right, can a man change his destiny? Does a man know where he's going? No, he don't. Everything is predestined, everything is guided, everything is a path. Everything is set, like Yahushua said. Is it not written in your law that you are gods? And these laws to this day, they still stand. You know, they still stand. You know, the Israelites are gods, and that's period, point blank. And that's why the Lord is going to destroy this place anyway, and because he's going to have to remake it. He's going to have to set everything back to normal. He's going to have to put the Israelites back to where they belong. He's going to have to take the enemy out of rulership. He's going to have to put these nations back under servitude to them. He's going to have to change the currencies. The entertainment might stay. You know, the palaces got to be restored. You know, I got to get rid of one empire. The rest of the empires can stay. You know, we got to remake the world. This is the Lord's to-do list. Like, this is something that he must do. You know, and he wants everything back the way it was. He can't stand to see the enemy just rule over them like that, and just beat them like that and hurt them like that. And these people are the rightful gods of the world. You know, these are gods that you're beating on like that. They just been brought down to a mortal coil, and they did that to themselves, but they are gods nonetheless. And it hurt the Lord to do that. Like I said, it chastised the Lord. No, it hurt the Lord to chastise his son, but it pleased him at the same time, you know, because his son is doing something noble, man. You know, so it pleased the Lord to chastise us at the same time because of whatever we did, and it's making us stronger. And as you can see, Israel is still here to this day. We still got unlimited numbers. We still, as a people, are an exceedingly great army. We still are the stars of the world. We still are excelling despite us not having the social stature, despite us being at the bottom of the barrel. You know, our enemies are still in power, still stomping the life out of us. We still get up. We still push forward. We overcome. You know, and that's one of the great things. That's what pleases the Lord, is because he still allowed us to overcome. Now, the difference is that a lot of us don't come home. That's the problem. You know, a lot of us don't want to come home. A lot of us don't want to be, that we don't want to be with the Lord, you know. And that's what's making the Lord mad, even though he's showing us all these signs. Right, like the Lord said, like the people said in Japan, they compared the black people to Viltrumites. Viltrumites are like damn near gods in the story of Invincible. They gods. You feel me? They destroy planets. Like the Lord said, I would send one angel to destroy everybody on the earth. I could send one angel to destroy everybody on the earth. But what I'm gonna do, since this enemy think he big and bad, I'm gonna send them all. I'm going to send them all. And I'm going to take only a few of the chosen, which are the few of the Israelites that came back. And I'm going to get rid of the rest of the Israelites. And then I'm going to remake them. And I'm going to let the ones that came back survive. And then I'm going to destroy their enemies. And I'm going to level some of these nations. They're going to get leveled, you know, when the time comes. But as far as I'm concerned, what's going on in the world right now, you know, it's not hard to see. You know, like they just going on about their day. You know, they're not out there representing the Lord. They're not out there worshiping. They're not out there trying to tell people. They're not out there, you know, reading their Bibles out there. They feel like all this stuff is embarrassing, you know, but it's done for a reason, you know. It's done for your protection, you know, so the Lord know who his people and who not. And it's not a lot of us. You know, I do the best I can. You know, it's not good enough, though. I'm going to be honest. It's not. I can do better, but for right now, this is all I got. You know, for the moment. And when things change and things get better, I'll be able to bring it up a notch, you know, but I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop. That's not going to stop me because I know what I'm doing it for, you know. I know that, you know, I'm doing it for Yahweh. I do it for the Lord, and I do it to save myself. Like the Lord said, save yourselves. Don't worry about everybody else. Save yourself. You can save yourself. You can't save everybody else. You got to go through the narrow to reach the broad. You feel me? You can't take your friends, you can't take your mama, you can't take none of them. They got to be willing to make the journey on their own. You can't take nobody but yourself. So if you anything, save yourself. You know, and that's all I got for right now. I'm running out of words. It's hot. You feel me? I'm just gonna close off my little rambling, but that's just what it is. They don't listen, man. Right, like I said, for scorners delight and they scorning, and fools hate knowledge, man. Like I say, wisdom crieth out aloud. She uttereth her voice in the streets, saying, how long will you simple ones love simplicity? For scorners delight and they scorn it, and fools hate knowledge. You feel me? So, hey, man, that's just what it is. And I'm going to close out early for today. It's been a beautiful day. Just being out here is a blessing. Just believing in everything, having that kind of faith and, doing what you got to do. You feel me? That's just what it is, man. And I'm about to close out because I don't have no more words. So it's, with that, call on Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Shem Kakodash. And it's on to the next video. Much love to those of them that do listen. And if not, it's cool because I know they demonetize most of my content. I probably think it's racist or whatever. It's kind of not. It's just the truth. That's just all that it is. That's all that it'll ever be. And with that, shalom.